Hello everyone, I'm Lynda Maddock, the Subject Officer for GCSE Religious Studies here at WJEC Eduqas. The purpose of this training video is to present in a more interactive way some of the CPD materials that were recently presented at events across England. It is no longer possible for me, or indeed anyone else involved in setting the live question papers, to deliver face-to-face training for teachers. This forum at least gives me the opportunity to talk through some of the content and assessment issues pertaining to the new qualification. If we turn to the first slide, it is an overview of the assessment requirements. We can see that there are 4 types of questions that can be asked: A, B, C, D. A, B and C assess Assessment Objective 1, Knowledge and Understanding, while D questions assess Assessment Objective 2, Analysis and Evaluation. A, B, C are worth 15 marks together, and D is worth 15 marks on its own. A questions will always ask what a key concept means. There are 8 key concepts for each of the 2 themes of Component 1, 8 key concepts for each of the 2 themes of Component 2, and 8 key concepts for Judaism, Component 3. Components 1 and 2A questions will ask, what do Catholics mean by? Component 3A questions will be religion specific and ask, what do Jews mean by? The B questions will ask for a description of something, an event, a practice, a teaching about, a view on, etc. The C questions ask for an explanation of something. However, the C questions in Component 1 only, that is, in both themes, origins and meaning, and good and evil, will ask for 2 religious responses, and for Route B candidates, the questions will be phrased thus: explain from either Catholic Christianity and Judaism, or from 2 Christian traditions, attitudes, beliefs, teachings, views, etc. on. This means that your candidates will not be able to stray from the specification requirements of studying Catholic Christianity and, where appropriate, Judaism, a requirement of the Bishops' Conference of England and Wales. The new Hodder textbook includes explicit references to Jewish views on a number of topics covered in Component 1. 2 religious responses is enough. There is no point including more because examiners will be instructed to credit 2 responses. It wouldn't be appropriate to include non-religious responses here because the question explicitly demands the religious views of Catholic Christianity and Judaism, or 2 religious views from within the Christian tradition. Example, Catholic and Evangelical. If we look at the second slide, the AO2D questions ask for a discussion, analysis, and evaluation of a statement. The candidates must engage with the statement in a critical way, and not just offer different explanations of how people might respond to a statement. They must offer different views and judge the statement in terms of its validity, its strengths, and its weaknesses, and so on. The origins and meaning D question of Component 1 must also include non-religious perspectives. It is the only question that must. Other D responses may include non-religious responses if the statement lends itself to their inclusion. Be aware that statements that focus in on a particular religion's belief or practice are not usually appropriate for non-religious responses. See the example on the second slide. Slides 3 and 4 provide a summary of the assessment requirements in the form of answers to the 20 most frequently asked questions I receive. All of these statements are true. I would ask you to read through these first if you have a query, because the answer may well be there. Slide 5 shows a few gentle reminders about what is and what is not possible. The final point about candidate entries is especially important because we need to plan teams of examiners, etc. Past paper questions. We cannot produce more sample assessment materials because we need to keep questions for the live exam papers. However, the WJEC website contains many hundreds of past paper questions and mark schemes from our legacy specifications. They date back to 2009, though to access papers preceding 2012, you will need your exams officer to give you access to the WJEC Secure website. Here are some examples of past paper questions that will still be useful for the new qualification. They have been colour-coded to highlight which questions might be most useful for which sections of the new specification. This is just a small sample. You may well need to tweak the trigger word and/or the rubric, but effectively many of these questions are still useful as practice questions for your pupils, and you have the benefit of the mark schemes to accompany them. The WJEC has offered Catholic papers for many years, and therefore many past paper questions will still be useful. Likewise, the questions in past Judaism papers will be useful for your learners. Writing exam-style questions. If you would like to write your own practice questions, the slide entitled Writing Exam-Style Questions might help. This is the sort of advice and guidance that principal examiners are given before writing their question papers. You can see that much is considered, and the final point about writing mark schemes is especially important. The following 2 slides, entitled Avoiding the Pitfalls, gives a selection of questions, but not all of them are appropriate questions in terms of the assessment requirements and the rubric or instructions for the questions. On this slide, only one 1A and one 1B question is appropriate, the ones in purple. Can you see why? Question 1A, only number 1 is accurate. Ascension and reconciliation are not key concepts, and the question will ask for Catholics, not Christians. The A questions are asking for definitions, not explanations, so the trigger word for number 4 is wrong. Questions will be religion specific and will ask, what do Catholics mean by? Question 1B, only number 4 is accurate. The B questions ask for describe and will be religion specific. Incarnation is not in the spec content of origins and meaning, neither is marriage. Can you do the same with the questions on the next slide? Why are only the questions in purple appropriate? The first question, 1C, is wrong because C questions require an explanation, so the trigger word is wrong. The last C question is wrong because marriage does not appear on this part of the specification. The second question is accurate. Component 1C questions demand responses from Catholic Christianity and Judaism or 2 Christian traditions, so only number 3 is correct. Sacraments appear in component 2, not component 1. Why is only the final D question accurate? The first D question is not appropriate because we are not demanding non-religious beliefs to be included here. Non-religious beliefs are only required in the D question of C1, component 1, origins and meaning. The statement itself is accurate though. The second D question is not appropriate because again the rubric is incorrect. Again, the question itself is appropriate. Question 3 is accurate. Marking example answers. These slides give an unmarked version of the response to a selection of A, B, C and D questions, followed by a marked version with comments where appropriate. The marked versions have been colour-coded to show where the criteria of the marking band has been met. You could use this as an activity with pupils or as a moderation exercise with department colleagues. Where responses are quite weak, you might use this as a way of encouraging your learners or your colleagues to suggest ways of improving the response. Some of these example responses are currently under development as interactive resources, where highlighters can be used on the screen to highlight evidence for the different marking band criteria. These will become available on our digital resources site. At the end of the example answers are a few example frameworks for answering the D questions. Please be aware that they are just examples and are not recommended or definitive in any way. Finally, please note that this presentation does not include all of the materials shown at CPD. Please see all course materials on the GCSE Religious Studies page of the Eduqas website to view the full range of presentations delivered, including resources created by Farmington Fellows. Whilst there is no substitute for face-to-face CPD, I hope this has nevertheless provided a helpful overview. As always, if you have any queries or concerns, you have direct access to myself and to the support officer, Christopher Barfoot, via telephone or email. Thank you and best wishes.